All right. Let's go there. Okay. Fueling while traveling, a topic I think that we are all not only interested in, but have most likely gone through the highs and lows that is traveling to races, and everything that possibly could go wrong or complicated. I love this picture. This is one of my friends, Alyssa Godeski. It, I mean, I'm an overpacker to begin with, but I think this sums up what it's like to travel as a triathlete if you are, going to a race and you're going for a couple days, all the junk and extras and parts and everything that you need. I also think that it's important to point out that when I'm recommending later that you bring certain items like a rice cooker or a coffee maker or whatever, this picture shows that, I mean, if you're packing all this luggage anyway, what's an extra bag, right? So if it's going to make your trip easier, and I know some airlines charge, some don't, but throw in the extra stuff. And we'll talk about packing and resources and how to do it. But anyway, if you've got room, plan ahead, and make yourself comfortable, have everything that you need. All right, agenda for today: why and how to follow the Fuelin plan while you're traveling, how to properly plan your trip, and then actually executing that plan. Some of tips from different pro athletes, my own tips from years of not only traveling as an athlete, but traveling for work. And then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. Right, I really like this quote, consistent action creates consistent results. I think it's important in our training, but also really important in our daily diet and when we're traveling. Traveling is that easy time when we have so many other things that we're thinking about that we often let our nutrition slide. Whether it's, I mean, we might still, hopefully at the very least, the night before and the day of, the morning of, you've got that meal dialed in and you're sticking to it, but there's all of that in between. There's the days leading up to the race if you're tapering and anxiety is high and maybe you're not checking your app because you're not training as much, or because of travel your entire routine is thrown off. And that's where that consistency really comes into play. So why do you want to keep it consistent? Having a routine helps us mentally, physically, and emotionally. We are race week, we're already worried about performance, and adding nutrition stress isn't going to help in any way. So if mentally we know we have things taken care of and we can stick to our plan and be consistent, that's going to help. Physically, changing our diet the week before, if we're eating different things or not getting the same amount of foods that we had before, especially fiber, traveling, there's a reason they have pills and a whole market for travelers' constipation. It happens if you're not eating the fiber that you're used to or you're not hydrating properly. So physically, you could experience some changes if you're not consistent. And then emotionally, food can be a comfort. Having that routine is emotionally satisfying. It allows us to check those boxes and make us feel like we're accomplishing things. So consistency is important in the mental game. It also eliminates doubt, stress. What am I going to eat? How much should I be eating? Should I really be adding carbohydrates? Should I not? The plan has this all, this is all laid out in the app for you. And I know that you know this all the rest of the time, but I think it's easy to forget. And I've seen athletes forget. In race week, it's also very dialed in. We have pre-race fueling recommendations, in-race fueling recommendations. We have hydration guidelines. And then it's also matched very specifically with the not only amount of training that you're doing, but the travel that you have, potentially any, if you've let us know in the app that you're not going to be able to have access to a kitchen, how we can accommodate that. And It's very important to meet those nutritional needs. The week before your race or during those couple days in travel is not the time to be under or over fueled. So for all of these reasons, we want to keep it consistent. Now, how can you plan ahead? Easiest way, I think, is to book a pre-race consult. If you're not already speaking with your coach weekly, eliminate the doubt, have a conversation, get together with the coach, and we can talk about all of the, here's what I would do. We can look at your travel and plan out, okay, I need here, here, and here. If it's a really long flight, if you're changing time zones, we can help recommend how to best adapt to that time zone. In the app itself, it's really important that you go in and update your travel plans. So you can make a note that you're going to be, flying for 6 hours. If it's a training day and your training schedule, noting that as like a training session, so we can see that you are or aren't going to be able to do the activities that you have for the day. Just make sure that everything is lined up. Ahead of time, you want to look at your plan and see what roadblocks. If you know we've scheduled, obviously looking at your protein requirements for the week. If you're going to be traveling on that day, it might be more difficult. So you really need to plan ahead. You really need to make sure that you're that potentially when oh, I'm going to be stuck at an airport, I might not be able to get my 6 handfuls of greens. How am I going to meet this? Oh, I'm staying at a hotel. Usually I like, picking pancakes for breakfast that I make at home. How am I going to do that instead? What things are going to get in my way? And then you want to make your shopping and packing list based on your needs for that week. And I find it helpful to set a timer or an alarm to record my data in the app. And this is because I've noticed with my athletes, when training kind of goes down that week before the race, or if they're focused on race logistics, you're not in the app as much. And so making a point to remind yourself to go in, look at what you need, check those boxes. It's just an added security, if you will, to make sure that you're staying consistent, and that week ahead, or even and the days past after the race, that you're really making sure you're still engaged with your diet and meeting all of your nutritional needs. Right. If anyone wants to jump in, I think let's see, plan template. Maybe tell me more, Kurt. Plan template, what you're looking for. Okay, how to plan your trip. Hopefully these are kind of the nuts and bolts of it all. The logistics aspect. What do I need? What can I bring? What can I buy? And what can I give up? So in the what do I need is all of the things that you consume, I would say, on a daily basis that you take for granted in your own kitchen. So that would be your protein powders, all of your vitamins and, collagen supplements, creatine, probiotics. If you take, if you need your coffee every day and it is your specific coffee that you love, and that's going to help you feel more connected on your trip, that goes into the what you need category. Then looking at the what can I bring with me? Obviously, I can't bring my huge Vitamix, but I have a small kind of NutriBullet that I can bring along to make it easy to get some of my greens, fruits, protein in. If I can make a smoothie in the morning in my hotel room. So can I bring single serve protein packets? Can I bring the different tools that I need? Do I have, I buy those little vitamin, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday pill boxes. Can I buy one of those, fill it up so I don't have to bring all of my bottles with me? Then what can I buy? What will I be able to get when I arrive at my destination that I don't have to worry about carrying with me? So, obviously all of the fresh fruits and vegetables and the things that you're going to be eating, but also can I buy, I don't know, a can opener from the dollar store when I get there so I don't have to carry it in my luggage? Can I buy plastic cups when I get there, or, disposable plates, napkins, again, depending on how long you're staying? Looking to avoid packing things that you might be able to buy there if you're short on space. And then the least fun of this is the what can I give up? So back to the coffee. Maybe you love your coffee, but maybe you don't have to carry your fresh beans and your French press with you. And you can just rely on, the horror of hotel coffee. I'm not saying you should. I'm just, when we're looking at packing, saving space, being efficient, there are some things, some comforts of home that you may have to give up. One of mine, I would say, is I love the Nutso peanut butter. It's got like chia seeds and flax seeds and all these different kinds of nuts in it. They only sell it in a jar that's just giant. Whereas I can get small single serve almond butter packets to use instead. So I'm giving up my favorite peanut butter, almond butter, and using something else. Again, just an example, but like always look at your logistics first, then go to specifics. Sounds very type A, but it's really going to help both in making sure you actually have everything that you need, but then in laying out, mapping out everything for the week so that you aren't worrying and it's one less thing to do while traveling and while at your race. Hourly plan, get out your calendar. This is, I fly out on Tuesday at 8 a.m. Am I going to have breakfast before? Am I going to have a snack before? Am I going to have a snack packed for at the airport once I'm through the gate? And then really it's a 5-hour flight. I'm going to have setting a goal of having this much water with electrolytes. I'm going to eat this. When I arrive, it'll be mid-afternoon, too early for dinner, but I'm going to be hungry, so I'll have a snack. Dinner, I've looked ahead. We're going out to dinner. I'll have to find a restaurant. I mean, every little detail, put all of that in your calendar hour by hour, and then you can go back and fill in details. You can make sure, I said I'm going to be making a shake, a protein shake. That means I'm going to need every morning, I'm going to need 4 protein, either 4 portable protein single serve packs, or I'm going to make my own with a Ziploc baggie. So that is what helps to lay out all of the logistics and know that you're going to need. And I put in here sleep, because it really is important that and make, especially race week, making sleep a priority. And I find it helps me to schedule it in, give myself a bedtime, so that when I'm actually there and my nerves are high, or I have more time on my hands and I can just scroll Instagram or TikTok or whatever, I've given myself boundaries, and it's all part of the plan. And then the third part is actually the management. How are you now you've done the plan, when it's time to travel, execute that plan. Holding yourself, I said I was going to have a snack here. Here's my snack. I said I was going to do this. I'm not going to take the free candied peanuts on the plane, or the whatever crackers that they give, or cookies. I have a plan. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to hydrate. And then, okay, how can I change course if I needed to? I said I was going to grab a Subway sandwich at the airport and take it on the plane with me, and have halfway through, the line at Subway was too long. What am I going to do instead? Can I go to Starbucks and grab one of their chicken, hummus, hard-boiled egg lunches, or a salad, or whatever? How can you adapt or change course if something comes up? Okay, we're getting to the fun part. Call this a term not my own. Jordan actually had this in one of her articles about nutrition. nutritional flexibility. And I think that's, if you remember one thing, this is the component when it comes to travel. Be willing and able to adjust. You're not going to have all of your regular things. You may or may not be able to eat exactly what you want, depending on the kind of accommodations you have. You need to be flexible and find, we always talk about good, better, best. Make the next best choice and find the best option that you can in each situation that you're presented. So first one, all about the snacks. You are going to be snacking while traveling and while away from your own kitchen is really where kind of the magic is. And that can be anything from, like the RX bars or any kind of sports bar, the small bags of seaweed snacks, plantain chips, pita chips, the little Baby Bell cheeses or little hummus or guacamole packets, making your own bento boxes with carrot sticks, edamame, fruit, hard-boiled eggs, even that, nice, a little bar of dark chocolate, if you're used to having that, one square or whatever every day, including that in your snacks. This is what's going to help you from making not only poor choices, but also making sure that you're staying fueled enough and not arriving under-fueled to your race. Packaged protein powders, pills, supplements, the lifeblood of any traveler, period. For example, when my family went to Hawaii earlier in July, I pre-ordered, I got the momentous single serve packs of protein. I knew we were going to be gone 8 days. And then I, made sure that I had the 8 protein packets. I made sure that I had mostly because I didn't want to have to worry about using Ziploc baggies and trying to fill it up and whatever. So planning ahead so that I knew I had those. You might need multiple during the day, depending. Other supplements, I know I like mushroom powder in my coffee or tea, so I got single serving packets of that. Your pills, laying all of that out so you know exactly what you have so you won't be without. Avoiding airplane food. I'm not trying to pick on airplane food. There are just so many better options that, for the most part, they're not going to serve your needs as athletes. And so bringing your own not only helps make sure that you're meeting the requirements that we have lined up for you each day, but also that you're just making better food choices. If you love, candied peanuts or wheat thins or whatever it is that they serve, bring your own. Find a healthier version, bring your own. You don't want to be the only person on the plane not eating honey roasted peanuts. Fine, whatever, just bring your own and make it a better option. Not skipping meals. This is I've seen it a lot. It doesn't happen to me because I'm hungry and my body doesn't really let me skip meals, I know. But I think if you're trying to, quote, avoid airplane food and eat well and stay on the plan, and if you hadn't packed and planned ahead and you don't have healthy options, I don't want you not eating. So find the best option with what you're given. It's better to have something maybe a little less nutritionally desirable than it is to not eat. We don't want you showing up to the race underfueled. Reusable water bottle and make a game of refilling it. One, the environmentalist in me would really love for us to stop using so much plastic. Bring your own. They make all kinds now. I mean, you can have any of your bike bottles, but you can also have the fancy little ones that they're like little flasks and they roll up tiny and, they're little bags like pouches. You can bring those and save space. And then single serve packages of hydration mix. I always have my SOS packets with me. I will fill up my water bottle, put a packet of SOS in there, drink that over the first hour or two of a flight. If it's longer, repeat. And I said, make a game of it. I like making a game of things. It just makes it more fun. Committing to veggies at every meal. This is something I've found that helps me personally stay kind of on track and make wise decisions while traveling. If I tell myself, okay, I have to have something green or, living of some veggie of some sort at every meal, it's just a box that I check. And it might not be the same quantity or quality that I would normally get at home, but it's still better than nothing. And it's still giving you the fiber and the vitamins and minerals, and hopefully keeping your digestion, bowel movements regular, and allowing you to make better choices. So if it's, like the Subway sandwich at the airport, which fine, great, add the spinach, add the lettuce, add the tomatoes, add the onions, ask for extra spinach. They, never told me I could. They'll charge you extra for any of the sauces or the things that you really don't want, but the extra spinach and tomatoes and pickles and whatever, they don't, they don't have a problem throwing extras of those on there. So if it's at breakfast, grabbing something, I'm trying to think at the airport, you could grab, most places now have little veggie boxes or something, or you could even bring your own and do an RX bar and then some sliced bell peppers and carrot sticks on the side that you planned ahead. But just having that goal, I think, helps to remind us that it's important at every meal. Booking a place with a kitchen, if possible. I know some people love Airbnb, some people hate it. I'm a big fan because it allows me the ability to cook my own meals and have a full-size refrigerator and really make, in my opinion, the best choices that I can. But it's totally possible to make do with a hotel room that at least has, if not a kitchenette, at least has a microwave, coffee maker, and mini fridge. And a lot of people don't know, you can request an extra mini fridge in your hotel room. The few times that I've stayed in one, because, we're either traveling with other people or we're going to be there for a couple days, and those little fridges are small. So you can ask for an extra one to be put in your room. Every hotel I've ever asked for has accommodated that. And then that way you have more space to put in the healthy foods that you grab when you get there. So do your homework. Homework, very important. Before you go, look at the area, scope out the restaurants, grocery stores, if you're going out to eat the night before, find the restaurant that you're going to eat at, look at the menu, know what you're going to order, make sure that it's going to meet those nutritional requirements. I always look for, when I'm traveling, the closest Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, because I know that they have very healthy options there, salad bar, hot kitchen, that I can get the foods that I normally have. You can also pick up single serve packets of things there. So if you don't want to travel with it, carry them with you, and you're going to be staying next to a Whole Foods, you can grab some when you get there. Grocery shop first thing when you arrive. Get it done, make it a priority. Even if, again, you have those tiny mini fridges, go and stock up on some healthy snacks. And hard-boiled eggs, oatmeal, the oatmeal cups that you can cook in the microwave, fruits, veg, all that kind of stuff. And then last one is something that people forget, but is very important. You've done all this hard work. We are, living in an era with COVID, cold and flu season, general illness that we just have while traveling. Don't forget to include immunity, hydration, sleep, and digestion supplements. So immunity would be So like vitamin C, elderberry extract, echinacea. I personally love oil of oregano. I will start taking that 2 or 3 days before, and then all throughout my trip. I know there's a nasal spray, I can't remember the name of it, that a lot of pro triathletes use for when they're traveling. Hydration, obviously, you've heard me talk about that before. Sleep. Some people can't sleep when they are not in their own bed. If you know you are one of those people, bring sleep aids, whether that's True's sleep product, Momentous's sleep product, which I've used and love. What's it called? Calm is another one. I forget, there are a couple. Even if you don't have trouble sleeping, race anxiety and nerves often interfere with our sleep. I am one of those people that never has a problem sleeping, but during race week, I am nervous, I am stressed, I don't sleep well. So I have the momentous sleep, and I will take it during that week to make sure that I'm getting quality sleep and not missing out. And you know, when you're not sleeping, digestion isn't great, immunity lowers, recovery isn't great. So something to think ahead. Digestion, if you are one of those people that can't go to the bathroom when you travel and get constipated, happens to all of us, plan ahead. Get, you know, they make pills for that, they make teas for that. If you're someone that travels and is the opposite and has issues with your stomach, you can take Tums, ginger chews, any kind of anti-diarrheal medication. But you don't want to arrive and be stuck. So obviously plan ahead, make sure that you know what potentially what problems may arise. All right. Let's see. Yeah, airplane food, gas for sure. So before we go further, I would love it if any of you guys have specific tips, things you found. If you want to tune in, you can just kind of unmute yourself. If anyone wants to share or ask questions, now's the time. Okay, or not, we can.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm one of those people that I don't eat a lot of white food in my normal diet. I eat, you know, whole grain stuff and veg. And this is my first, I'm racing on Sunday, and this is my first actual peek at like, holy cow, they want me to eat 600 grams of carbs of white food tomorrow. I won't be able to get out of my bed. So yeah, I'm trying to do this, but it doesn't usually end well for me because I'm not, and I already take digestive enzymes and stuff for low stomach acid for regular food, not even, you know, all the time. So should I take twice as many digestive enzymes when I eat my meals, or just stick with what, you know, just obviously this is my first experience racing with the way higher carbs during the race. So I'm a little, my body's still getting used to it.
Yeah, I don't blame you there yet. At all. I think most importantly is, especially since this is your first time adding carbohydrates, your first time racing.
Well, it's not my first time racing ever. Well, I've always done like the
first time racing with the higher carbs.
With way higher, yeah.
Yeah. Your comfort level and is what's most important. If we had, you know, the last several weeks, hopefully we've been kind of upping your carbohydrates, or you've had higher carbohydrate days, so you know, but the day before the race is not the best time to try doubling. That being said, encouraging you to increase carbohydrates and finding ways to do that in a comfortable way that isn't going to impede your digestion is the best way to do it. So, you know, I find it easier, like if you're used to whole wheat bread, having the bagel or naturally when we eat out, those bagels are usually bigger. So you're already going to be getting more. Grabbing the white sourdough bagel instead of the wheat bagel, or the white, it doesn't just have to be from white. It can be like the mixed wheat or whatever, is still going to give you more carbohydrates than you're used to.
Right.
Having the sandwich for lunch, let's say, having, you're going to be getting more carbohydrates there. And then I think too, finding smaller carbohydrate snacks. I find a granola bar, those Nature's Valley granola bars, are ridiculously high in carbohydrates. And it's very easy on my digestion, and I'm like you, I used to take digestive enzymes all the time. So that's another way that I know I'll have that snack kind of in between somewhere. I'll have one of the 2 sticks, and then maybe an hour later have another one of them.
Okay.
So smaller increments, finding little ways to sneak stuff in, even if it's just, switching from Van's whole grain frozen waffles to a regular waffle or whatever, or just making the small changes. And yes, you probably will need an extra digestive enzyme or 2.
Okay.
Also because you have race nerves, and that can help with that. I
Extra
know.
fun.
Extra fun. Good question.
Thank you.
I think one thing to note there, Elizabeth, is I think it's helpful too, as athletes are leading up to races, you'll notice that we do prescribe the carb fueling before big sessions. And one thing that Scott and I have talked about is trying to start recommending to test out race breakfast and pre-race dinners ahead of time. I think that's one thing that I haven't done before that I think was a learning for me from talking to you and Scott.
Yes. I always tell my athletes, you should know your pre-race breakfast at least 6 weeks in advance and have practiced it multiple times on the higher end, that. Same thing with the dinner. So obviously, Trish, not for, it's this race, but hopefully you've been implementing, or at least have been trying the different ones.
Yeah, I've done several, but it's been a bumpy road. Let's just put it like that. Because I'm trying to do what's prescribed, and I'm a bigger girl, so it's kind of a lot of food. And like I said, I'm just not. I eat a lot of salad. I like veg, but I don't normally eat bread. And don't get me wrong, I like it. It's delicious. But sometimes it doesn't like me back. That's
right.
And for me, and the volume of it too is I know, and you guys have told us before, think about fruit juice, think about cereal, but those are things I don't typically ever eat. But I do have a bag of Cheerios for the car ride down to Sandusky for tomorrow.
And that's the thing.
Snacking on those.
The cereal, dry cereal, it's my go-to race week treat in terms of adding, which should be a testament to cereal in general. That's just how not ideal it is nutritionally. Yeah. But it's so easy to add those, quick, fast, quote, white carbohydrates in. With that, and a little bowl of cereal before bed on the night before a race. I've been known to do that many times. It's very comforting to me to have some Lucky Charms before I go to bed. It's my Lucky Charms.
Which marshmallows do you eat first? So that's what we really need to know.
Oh my gosh, I save all the pink and blue ones till the end. And I like the last bite to be all marshmallow and one actual piece. Anyway.
Funny. Cool.
Awesome. All right, let's do. So I found, I call these my lifesavers, in that I think they're things that we don't always think about, but I found through experience actually really help. And Rob shared this photo in the Facebook group, which want to make sure that everyone, I think all of you are, because I've seen comments before, but our Fuelin Facebook group, just for Fuelin athletes, is such a wealth of information and such a fun place to go, not only to talk with one another, get to know one another. I mean, several athletes are meeting up at Lake Placid this weekend. But for things like this, for tips, Scott and I post in there different ideas that we have or things that we're reading. So if you're not in the Facebook group, great place to go. Rob shared this in the group and this picture, and I think it's just an excellent idea of like, these are the things, the mini espresso machine, the mini bullet, the little packets of protein, the thing of dark chocolate. Like when I say pack your essentials, these could be your essentials. Little coffee maker, shaker bottle for your protein. Sarah Pimpiano always brought a rice cooker. That's a little bit bigger. And if your needs are that specific, definitely something to talk to Scott and I about. But it has been done. The NutriBullet mini blender. I always take an insulated cooler bag with me, like the ones you take to the grocery store to like keep your groceries cool. I find not only does it help in transporting groceries back to your hotel room or your Airbnb, but to have out on the course, or to be able, if there's not enough room in your fridge, or if you have family and friends coming, to be able for them to have an insulated bag with, cold stuff in it, it really helps. It doesn't take a lot of room in your luggage. Anyway, I find it helpful. I will always take one with me. Important reminder to keep it simple. Unfortunately, I've had athletes that go out, and while sushi is an excellent meal 99% of the time, the night or two before the race, maybe not a good idea. And not because there's anything wrong with sushi. It's a worry in the back of my mind. That's one of those food contamination, potential food poisoning areas. Same with eating, if you're traveling to South America for a race, or, a different country for a race. Save the local exotic cuisine for afterwards. Hopefully you've given yourself that day, or especially if you're traveling maybe a couple days after to vacation. Let's not risk before your race eating something that potentially has the possibility for food poisoning, or just to upset your stomach if it's food you're not used to. So keeping it simple, very bland, I hate to use the word clean, but bland, clean, plain meals in the couple days before is really your best bet. Time zone hacks. If you are changing time zones, you absolutely want to adjust to that time zone so that you, as quickly as possible, so that you are eating on that schedule, you are sleeping on that schedule. So it can be easy to manipulate that if you have a long flight, and if you're going to be arriving at dinner, planning your snacks accordingly. But that will help with digestion and help with sleep if you can adjust to the local time zone. I always take a microwavable container, so one of those Pyrex dishes with a lid, I will put in it my bamboo utensils, bamboo straw or metal straw, and then like a measuring cup if I'm going to be making oats. I'm going to be, it's just like little things that you don't always think about. A Swiss Army knife if you are packing it in your checked luggage. I've been known to take a wine opener and a Swiss Army knife in my carry-on bag, and it actually made it through in one airport but did not in another. So but these are all things like that way you have a container to heat food up in the microwave. You have utensils in case your hotel room doesn't. You have the measuring cup if you brought a bag of oats, like all of those. The Swiss Army knife, I've joked before that I travel with avocados. I'm not kidding, I really do. And to have a knife to cut fruit or avocados or whatever is very handy. And they do have bottle openers. So after your race, when you are celebrating how amazing it went, you want to be able to open your beer or your wine or whatever. So it fits in your luggage. A lid, a microwavable Pyrex glass container that has a lid. You know, stuff your clothes around it to avoid the, like, keep it from breaking. But I find that to be very helpful. And then last bit, hotel room cooking. In a hotel microwave, you can make scrambled eggs, you can make oatmeal, you can make, you know, if you go to the store and buy the like bag of frozen shrimp and frozen veggies and minute rice, you can create a whole dinner, super nutritious, tasty, healthy. You've eliminated the potential for, hopefully, for food poisoning. You have your microwavable container and utensils. You can make a great meal there. I will bring along, I've been known to stock up on like soy sauce packets, sriracha packets, obviously almond butter packets, the little salt and pepper seasonings that you can get when you order food, DoorDash or whatever. Bring these little things with you, plan ahead a few weeks or so that you can actually make meals in your hotel room and not have to rely on going out. It can save money, but also really helps you stick to the plan. Yeah, I think those are the highlights and ideas. So let's open it up for some questions. Or tips or tricks. What other things potentially didn't I cover? Do you have any questions about the stuff that we did cover today? Anything you learned that maybe you hadn't thought of before that you might use on your next traveling trip?
Do you have a brand or dosage for the immunity stuff like elderberry extract or oregano oil?
I love the Gaia Herbs oil of oregano pills. I've always found them they're a pretty solid brand. And then for the elderberry, echinacea, they have an immunity mix. New Chapter has an immunity mix. Thorn, actually, I like theirs. I would say start with the Thorn brand. Actually, all of Thorn's supplements are really spot on. So yeah, good question. You can skip those emergency vitamin C packs. It's like a high concentrated dose of vitamin C that isn't a high quality vitamin C, and you end up peeing most of it out anyway. I mean, if you like the taste and you want to put it in your water bottle so you drink more water while you're traveling, that's fine. But there are better options.
This is Matt. I can't get my video working, but
Okay.
I just came back from a race in Europe, and I would just suggest, like, for breakfast, the food there is what you get in the hotel is different than what you'd probably find in the States. So to me, eating for me isn't a big deal. So it wasn't an issue for me, but just for some people that are a bit more particular, you may want to see what they kind of offer if you're traveling out of the country, so you can either try it out before you go or at least know what you're getting into. Same with kind of dinners and whatnot. I'm not a stickler for what I eat. I probably should follow the plan better after my race results. But, we were in one part of the country, for the race only for a few days, and then we go into a different spot, and there was a lot of good local cuisine. So kind of sampled a lot of that, which maybe wasn't good or bad, but I figure I'm there once, and
Yeah.
I'm not looking to win anything. So
well, good. That sounds like
just
a healthy balance. That's an excellent point too. Reminding people not to expect what they have here. Excellent reminder. Thank you.
And I'd also, sorry, just one more point. make sure you know what's on the race course, because I kind of read the briefing and I'm like, oh, they have the Mirton gels. So I took my food on the bike and I figured, oh, the last hour I'll just have some of the gels. And then it turns out I didn't read enough and they didn't have the gels on the bike, just on the run. And the bars they had on the bike were disgusting. I tried 3 different ones. I couldn't eat them. So,
Okay.
but just so something to check out. And it's not the first time I've done that. So you think I would be a little wiser, but maybe the third time I'll learn.
Yeah.
But
3 times. Hey, who amongst
Yes.
us hasn't had to learn the same lesson multiple times? It's
yeah, so learn from my mistakes is all I'm saying.
okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm curious for our athletes that are on the call, are there any go-to sort of like restaurants that for, you know, carb fueling the day before a race or morning, or I guess not morning of, because usually it's still really early?
Italian food. You always find a lot of carb stuff. That's usually what I do the night before. Just try to find an Italian restaurant.
Same, yeah, just try, I mean, it could be some chain like Olive Garden. It depends on where you're at, like what do they have there? Carrabba's at Olive Garden. Or if you're like, I'm gonna be in Ohio and I decided I'm bringing my dinner, but I know where the Italian restaurant is if I change my mind.
Yeah. Sounds like Italian's the way to go. It'd be interesting, Elizabeth, if we looked at like the most popular Italian chains and maybe just, you know, highlighted a
Oh,
few
sure.
go-to dishes.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I've been to an Olive Garden, but I remember loving the breadsticks. I think that was like the thing there that I enjoyed. I think I like a good like Japanese restaurant, even though I said no sushi. I will get the, you know, big plate of rice, like white rice, and then a cooked piece of salmon or something like that. Easy. And then I'll do the miso soup because that has, you know, sodium in it. It's immune boosting. It helps with digestion. You can get the like cucumber salad or whatever to get a little veg in there that's not too high in fiber. Or breakfast for dinner. That's another easy one that I think people forget. It sounds, you know, silly, but the like Denny's, you can get pancake, eggs, toast, you know, the white toast with the little jelly packets. Super easy to get some carbohydrates there, and who doesn't love a pancake or a waffle?
Are there any questions for Coach Elizabeth outside of kind of travel nutrition, just general?
I got a quick question. During a race, like, what do you do? So I just had this race, and on the bike, like the food, I was taking the Cliff Blocks, which I've been riding with the last couple months, you know, practicing with, and early on, like they just weren't sitting well in my stomach. And luckily I brought some endurance tap and that seemed to help. And then I was able to go back to the Cliff Blocks for a little bit, but like they just, and I don't know if it was very hot and humid, so I'm not sure if that was the problem, but it just wasn't sitting well. The SOS wasn't sitting well. And I really hadn't had a problem with any of that during my training rides, although the weather here had been cooler than it was during the race. So I'm not sure if the heat kind of affected it, but like kind of what do you do in that scenario if you're kind of having that problem? And the stuff they were serving on course, I hadn't really tried. Like I said, I tried some of the bars on the bike and the taste was just not for me. So kind of what do you do in that scenario?
I guess the immediate response is I give myself like a 20 to 30 minute no food, let my stomach settle policy. And that's not ideal, but it's better than making the situation worse and potentially having that upset stomach, having, you know, not being able to take in any food later. It's kind of like slow your pace down a little bit in the beginning so you don't end up walking at the end. Same thing with the food. Maybe give yourself a break from the food and drink for a little bit and then start again and see if that helps. I always pack, and again, if you hadn't taken them with you, you wouldn't have access to them, but I know my stuff, even if I've used something 1,000 times, my stomach can get upset because there's, birds in the sky. Who knows? I have like Tums and ginger chews to help settle my stomach. So I will put those in my jersey pocket or in my like bento box. That helps. And then as far as the hydration goes, even just switching to water for a little bit can help. And then I always say, like, reset, start again, reset, start again. And usually that will allow your body to settle, and then hopefully you can go back to getting some more food in. And as far as not liking the taste of the bars, if that's your only option, I would say force yourself as much as possible to get something in, even if it's like, okay, I hate the taste of this bar, but I'll have half of it. At least that's something. Not ideal. Like, kind of once you've gone down that road, if you didn't bring stuff along to help settle your stomach, or if you didn't bring extra salt pills, then you kind of have to stop, readjust, let things settle, and then start again.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
I have a question. I'm so glad I remembered it. Is there any, so I just started drinking water on the bike in Ironman distance last year at Brad Hunter's recommendation, because I had always just done carbohydrate solution nutrition and never really taken in water at all. So I started doing that, but now I'm drinking SOS and I'm not drinking a carbohydrate rich drink. Is there any disadvantage to just drinking SOS on the bike? Because my thought process is when I eat, I should use the water to wash that down. But is it a bad thing if I'm doing that with SOS, or does it not matter?
Nope, not at all. As long as those calories that you were getting from the liquid carbohydrates, as long as you're getting those somewhere else, so you're not under fueling.
I haven't been using them at all this year. I'm hydration in the bottle, food in the pocket, where in the past I used to use it. Like I tried it once because Scott talked about it in a couple webinars ago, and I was like, it's disgusting. I know it's too sweet. Yeah. So now I'm like, I'll just eat the chews or take a gel or whatever. But I just didn't know, I setting off my belly balance by drinking the SOS, but it doesn't really have much in the way of carbohydrate in it, correct?
Yep,
okay.
It doesn't. So if anything, it prevents the hyponatremia, just getting too much water. So having that continuous feed of sodium and potassium is really going to help keep that electrolyte and fluid balance.
And that's not a problem in an Ironman either, because I have another half, but the A race is in November. So
I would say let's see how it goes this weekend.
Yeah.
And then, we can reevaluate, but it shouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay.
If anything, we would be adding some SOS because of the duration, the added duration for your Ironman. Mm-hmm. Earlier on, but other than that, it wouldn't change it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Good question. Sure.
So I have two questions. Kind of one is more important, I think, than the second. The first one is related to rerunning the program. Is it recommended not to do that during the week? Because I think in particular for my weekend sessions, with a wife and kid, sometimes things are fluid, so I have to change, from a short workout to a long workout. But I've noticed when I do that halfway through the week, sometimes days that I've already gone by, they completely change. And I was just like, did I throw the whole thing off? So for example, like I would have a green day on Wednesday, and then I'm on Thursday, and I figure out that Saturday I can do a big ride. Somehow Wednesday flips to red. So everything just goes, I went over, and I was like, well, that's not what it was when I did it.
Yeah.
So that was one question. And the second one is ideal weight really important? When I entered it, I kind of based it on my ideal weight from 10 years ago. And I think I'm a lot more muscular now. And I think I probably need to bump it up by probably 10 pounds or so, because I don't think I can shed any more weight than right now and still be healthy. So I was like, should I bump it up or just leave it, or, you know?
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Both great questions. Let's do the weight one.
Yeah.
Yes. I find that at least with my one-on-one athletes, one of the first questions I ask them is, how did you come up with your ideal weight number?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have that as like, well, when I was 25, I would you know, so it's very important, not only for performance, but for, I mean, we use that calculation. It's part of our calculation for your daily caloric needs. So having not only a realistic ideal weight, but also that it can change throughout the season. And you very well, maybe it sounds like it, that we should adjust that a bit to make sure that you are fueling, because there's, you know, I did a whole Q&A on ideal race weight.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's not, there is no magic number. So if we need to adjust so that you're still getting enough food and not continuing to lose weight, I mean, you know your body. If you're saying, I pretty much can't lose anymore and still perform, then we should adjust for sure. So that can be a moving target. Their first question, rerunning the plan. Always, like, yes, if things change, have us rerun the plan. Looking at what changed in the past is less of a concern than getting it right in the future, because you've already done those days and you did the work that day. So it's only in that it looks inaccurate to you. It's not that you fueled incorrectly. So still, especially if you're changing a short session to a long session, we really want to make sure that that's correct. So always, if there are changes, use that feature. That's why we have it in there. Have us rerun the plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. Good. I like these. These are great questions. All right, Jennifer. Yeah, no problem. Good on you for being on the bike. She asked, is there anywhere within Fuelin where we can input RMR DEXA scan results? Does that help alter? Not a feature yet, but it is if you're working with a coach one-on-one, then that's something that we communicate with you. If you're not one of the one-on-one athletes, then that's when you would schedule a consult with Scott or myself, and we would look at those very closely. And then potentially, yes, that will alter how your nutrition plan is formed. For example, if you are, if body composition, if you get your DEXA back and we need to adjust body composition, then that's something that we can talk about and then adjust the goals accordingly and the fueling accordingly. Same thing with your blood work. It's not so much, we don't make specific supplement recommendations in the app yet, but if you're working with us and we get your blood work back and we review it and see that you're low in iron, low in vitamin D, and maybe have an elevated cortisol, then we can say, all right, let's look, here's the supplements that we would recommend for you. Here's the foods you want to be including in your diet. So anytime we have those results, we want to implement them and include them so that we can get you better, feeling better, fueling better. Does that answer your question? Jonathan, is there something you wanted to add to that?
Just two things to add with the DEXA scan. We do have a guide that we've created to help you interpret your results with different ranges. So definitely leverage that if you have DEXA results and you just want to quickly understand where you stand. And then the other thing is around the RMR. Well, give us feedback on how you're responding to the plan. And so even if you're autopilot and you're feeling like it's either too much or too little, give us that feedback through the app, email us, and it may be something we dig deeper into and one of the coaches may then ask to just take a look at your RMR if you have one.
Got it. Clear. Thank you.
No problem. Well, I know we're up on time for the primary Q&A session. I will stay on if there's anyone that has any questions about the app, or if you're running into any setup issues, if you're just joining. So definitely stay on if you have any questions. And then there's a 2-question survey that pops up after the session ends. So please do take a moment to provide your feedback. Coach Elizabeth and Scott and I really value it. So let us know how we can continue to improve these sessions.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Always great to see everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Good luck, Trish.
Thank you.
Good
See how
luck.
those carbs
Thank you.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, got. Barry and Sarah, do you have any questions about the app?